What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, and then we build them together. Now this week, we are going to be taking a look at one of the most popular barbarians out there, for a pretty good reason, and we'll talk about why here in just a second, and this is the Totem Warrior. So if you are ready to embrace your inner brother bear, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, and of course leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Most people who watch this channel are actually not subscribed, so please don't be one of those people. Go ahead and subscribe. It really helps me out. It really helps the channel grow, and we're hoping to become monetized in the future. Hopefully, we'll just see. But we've been seeing quite a bit of growth here over this past little bit since we've started doing D&D, so I really appreciate that. And so of course, share with your friends as well, and click the bell so you get notified for all of my future videos. So let's talk about the Totem Warrior Barbarian for just a second. This thing's cool, right? So we talk about the barbarian being this primal force, one with nature, and just has this primal rage to it that allows you to be stronger, be more powerful, and it's just a really cool thing. Well, this takes it and kind of turns that up even more, and it takes the primal aspect, and you now get to take on aspects of different kinds of beasts that are around there. So there are 5 choices, and we will talk about all of them extensively. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you want to find these in the books, of course, you can find those in the Player's Handbook on page 50, but there are also 2 more that were introduced in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide on page 122. So if you need to find those, they are there as well. So at 3rd level, we get a couple of features. The first one is Spirit Seeker, and so this is going to allow us to actually cast Beast Sense and speak with animals as rituals, which is pretty cool. There's no limit on how many times you can do this per day. So in theory, as long as you have time to perform the ritual, you can do this over and over and over. So that's pretty cool. Beast Sense is actually pretty cool. You don't really see it a whole lot, at least in my games. I haven't seen a lot of people take it. But basically, you kind of have a temporary familiar. You can't necessarily talk to it telepathically and like command it to do things, but I mean, if you can also cast Speak with Animals, which you can, and you have time to do both of the rituals, you can tell this thing what to do and then watch it for a while and listen to what it's hearing, and that gives you some scouting capability, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it could put the beast in harm's way, but it keeps you out of harm's way at the very least. So that's pretty cool. I feel like this could be used in a lot of different ways. The beast does have to be willing, so it can't just be some random wolf that's trying to chew your face off and you just like, hey, let me just look through it. No, it doesn't work that way. It does have to be willing, so you know, you've got to make some friends with it, but Speak with Animals can definitely give you an avenue to do that. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a 7 out of 10 combination so far. Like, I think that it's good because it allows you to use your environment to scout more safely and take up a semi-familiar, at least for a short time, and maybe you'll befriend it and it'll follow you around. You never know. Also, 3rd level, we get Totem Spirit, and this allows us to take on a totem spirit to be our guide, essentially. So like in Brother Bear, how you have the little trinket that goes around your neck, same thing here, and so you can use that to channel powers of that specific animal. Now there are 5 animals to choose from, and you get to choose one of them at 3rd, 6th, and 14th level. They do not have to be the same as you level up. You can take, say, bear here, eagle there, and then wolf at the final one. You can totally do that if you want to, or you can just stick with the same one all the way through. I find it a little bit more difficult to justify switching it up for story reasons unless something crazy happens, so that you have 3 different trinkets. For story reasons, it would make much more sense to just take one and stick with it the whole way. But, you know, if you can find a good reason to take on a bunch of different totems, great, that's totally fine. You can do that within the rules. So we're going to actually rank these separately from each other instead of it being just one ranking for the feature itself, because they're all so different. And so what we'll do is I'll tell you what they do, and then we'll rank them all at the end. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of the 3rd level ones. The bear gives us resistance to all damage except psychic while we're raging.
The eagle gives disadvantage on opportunity attacks made against us, and we can dash as a bonus action. The elk increases our walking speed by 15 feet while we're raging. The tiger allows us to have a better jump height and distance. And the wolf gives allies advantage on attacks against creatures within 5 feet of us that are also hostile towards us. So let's break these down, right? So we have 15 combinations total, and so we're just gonna take a look at level 3 for now, and then as we go, the choices are just gonna get crazy. So let's look at bear. As I'm sure you're aware, blanket resistance to all damage except psychic is kind of busted. And this is probably the easiest 10 out of 10 I could ever go with. Yeah, this just makes you incredibly tanky, and it's really hard to pass up on this one. Eagle, useful, gives us maneuverability that we wouldn't have had normally, and we also can cover a greater distance since we can dash as a bonus action, which is pretty great. Is it as good as blanket resistance? No. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's good. I think it's useful. I don't think it's as good as the bear. So we're going to stick with that. 15 feet of movement is actually quite good, especially considering that we get fast movement in 2 levels. So it's going to be an extra 25 feet of movement. So basically, no matter what race you are, almost, you're going to have a 50-foot move speed at least at level 5. That's kind of nuts, right? Like, that lets you get pretty much anywhere you need to go. If you're fighting on a place that's bigger than that, then you may have bigger problems. So I'm going to also give that an 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty good. Tiger only adds 10 feet to a long jump and 3 to a high one. This is bad. This isn't going to come up hardly at all. If it does, let me know what useful things you've done by taking this. But yeah, this is a 3 out of 10 for me. I don't really like this one. And finally, wolf gives us pack tactics to share with everybody else. This is the reason why people play kobolds. I'm just saying, like, this is what makes kobolds good. 9 out of 10. That's really good. So at 6th level, we get Aspect of the Beast, and this basically is the same thing as level 3, just this focuses on outside of combat, typically, type of stuff. And so that can also be useful, so we will take a look at each of these as well. So the bear gives us an increased carrying capacity, and it makes it easier for us to move objects. Eagle gives us sight out to 1 mile, and gets rid of the disadvantage on perception checks within dim light. Elk doubles your traveling pace with up to 10 people. The tiger gives us 2 proficiencies from this list that you can see here. And the wolf allows you to track while moving at a fast pace and be stealthy while going at a normal pace. So there's a lot to this one, and of course most of these are not focused on combat, so there may be a little bit more to talk about with these. So bear comes first, and I find it underwhelming here. To me, carrying capacity at most tables doesn't come up. At least at most tables I've played at, we don't really talk about carrying capacity. Maybe we should, but that's one of the rules that kind of gets ignored a lot. And you know, because we're not really keeping track of that. You know, it happens. So yeah, I'm guilty of it too. In my tables, I'm totally guilty. So it happens. It is what it is. Moving objects around is fine. But again, most DMs with a good enough strength check are probably going to let you move most things, especially if you have help. So I really don't see this being the most important thing in the world. Is it useless? No. But I don't think I can give it more than a 5 out of 10, unfortunately. Eagle allows you to see incredibly far away, even if it's in dim light. This can be very useful, actually, for scouting out places from a long way away. As long as you have a clear line of sight, a mile is a long way away. I mean, you can get some useful information. I do recommend taking this with the observant feat, and then you can read lips a mile away, which is kind of nuts that you can do something like that. But yeah, you can. If you take Eagle here and then take the observant feat, you can read lips a mile away of the guards chilling on top of the wall, of the goblins chilling outside their hideout, or whatever you want to do. And the ignoring dim light should definitely not be ignored, because that's also very important. This is an 8 out of 10 for sure. Elk. Elk allows faster travel, so you not only will arrive faster at camp, but the bigger one to me is that you camp half as much because you're on the road half as many nights. So I think that this is very important. So I think this is also an 8 out of 10 if you're traveling a lot. If you're kind of just sticking to one city, then not really useful, but if you're traveling a lot, this is great. Tiger turns you into a skill junkie, essentially. The list isn't the best because you've seen these before, but I mean, it still allows you to fill in some skills that maybe you didn't have before. And you've got several different ways to get skills now, right? So you've got your class, your background, this, primal knowledge from Tasha's, and possibly your race may give you one or two. So you've got a lot of different ways to gain proficiencies, and skills are fantastic. I'm going with a 9 out of 10 on this one. And then Wolf basically allows you to benefit from one higher level of travel while going a little faster. So normally there are 3 paces in general of travel. There's fast, normal pace, and slow. So when you're moving fast, you can't be stealthy, and you can't track, right? When you're moving medium speed or normal speed, you typically can track, or you typically can track, but you can't really be all that stealthy. And then slow, you can be stealthy and track really well and that sort of thing. This one basically gives us the benefits of the higher speed bracket while also moving in a higher speed bracket, which is, you get the benefits of the lower speed bracket while moving in a higher one, which is pretty great. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. This will come up a lot. Maybe not so much the tracking one, but at least you could like run while tracking, which is cool. But even more so, you can move sneaky without adding days to your travel time. That's something that I think is really important. So I think that's really cool. 9 out of 10. At level 10, we get Spirit Walker, and this basically allows us to cast Commune with Nature also as a ritual. So you're going to see this combination here of the 3rd level and the 10th level, allowing us to cast these rituals of being one with nature and being in touch with nature. And I think that's really cool. I think that brings a really good aspect to it. Commune with Nature is not a terrible spell. It's not the best spell. Most people don't take it. Some people do, but it's not one of those spells that I see is like at the top of people's lists. So, you know, it's cool to have. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 that's the only thing you get is one spell out of this list. Yeah, we could have gotten some better in or outside of battle capabilities, but instead we just got one spell at 10th level. That's a little underwhelming to me. Finally, at 14th level, we get Totemic Attunement, and so this allows us to basically do the same thing we did at 3rd and 6th level in choosing another totem. Again, we can choose the same one we already have, or we can choose a different one, whatever you want to do. So let's look at them all. The Bear gives you the ability to impose disadvantage on attacks made against creatures other than you, as long as it's within 5 feet of you and you are raging, and it is immune if it can't see or hear you, or it is immune to being frightened. A lot of conditions there, but we'll talk about that in a second. Eagle gives you a flying speed equal to your walking speed, but you can't hover, unfortunately. The Elk allows you to use your bonus action to force a strength saving throw, and on a fail, the creature is knocked prone and takes 1d12 plus your strength mod in damage. The Tiger allows you to use your bonus action to make an attack as long as you've moved 20 feet towards the target, and then you also follow up with another attack. And then finally, the Wolf allows you to knock a creature prone that is large or smaller, as long as you hit it with a melee weapon. No saving throw, just gets knocked prone. So let's talk about these. So the Bear essentially gives us a slightly improved version of the level 3 feature from the Ancestral Guardian, which we've talked about in the past. That'll be up in the iCard above. But it also only took 3 levels to get that feature. And it's only marginally worse. It's just limited in its range. This one doesn't have a range on it, but it's still pretty good, right? This allows you to protect your allies. It allows you to be the one that's soaking up the damage. You're saying, hey, come and get me, which is absolutely amazing. Especially if you already had the Bear from earlier and you really don't care to get hit. You've got a huge hit die and you are resistant to all damage except psychic. 9 out of 10. This is fantastic. The eagle lets you fly. 10 out of 10. There's not much more to say about that. Yeah, a flying barbarian is definitely a terrifying thing. So this is amazing, and we're going to take it. Especially, it says it's equal to your walking speed, right? So that means that if we took the elk at level 3, we now have a kind of insane walking speed, which means we also have an equally insane flying speed. So combinations to think about depending on what you want to do. Elk gives us a charge attack, which is cool. This is our bonus action that we have to use to do it. It does knock them prone, and then you still have your action, which is great. So with a successful strength saving throw, or I guess failing, they fail it, you're successful. You knock them prone with your bonus action, deal a little bit of damage, and then you have advantage on your attacks. Meaning you don't have to burn reckless, meaning you don't have advantage against you. There's not advantage against you on attacks, which is pretty fantastic. So I think elk is actually quite useful at 9 out of 10. I think that this is pretty great. It doesn't affect anything larger than large. And I think that the wording should have been no more than a creature no more than one size larger than you. I think that would have made more sense. Just because if you are a large creature, say if you dipped into Rune Knight and so now you're a big boy, it would make sense that you could affect a creature one size larger than you. It just feels like it's kind of assuming that you're a medium size. So I would talk to your DM about that. I feel like that's more than fair, but that's just me. Tiger allows us to basically make a full bonus action attack as long as we run at the target. So looks like we're already better than the Berserker. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Wolf just lets you knock people prone. No saving throw. Hello? I mean, that's fantastic. It does consume your bonus action, but like, who cares, right? You're typically not using your bonus action for anything unless you're using a polearm, and as long as you hit with the first attack, you burn your bonus action and you're hitting again with advantage, and you don't have to use reckless on that second strike. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. 10 out of 10. Knocking people prone without a saving throw. Absolutely amazing. So let me know what you think down below of this subclass. This has to be one of the most customizable subclasses that's out there. Like I said, there's 15 options that you can go with, 15 combinations rather. And so I think that that's amazing. So you can go straight through and go straight bear, straight elk, whatever. Or you can mix them up if you want to, if you have a good story reason for it. I do find it a little difficult to find a good story reason just to switch those up. I personally would probably just stick with the same one the whole time, but that's just me. Talk to your DM. So what is my final ranking? This one was a very easy one for me, and I think you know where this is going to go. To me, the Bear Totem at level 3, giving us the ability to resist all damage except Psychic, sets the tone for the entire subclass. Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. This is straight busted. I love this subclass. But not to sleep on some of the other features, right? Like the wolf giving pack tactics at level 3 is also quite good. And we also talked about the combination of the elk giving us extra movement in combination with the eagle later on, giving us a flying speed equal to our walking speed. If you're making your walking speed insane and then you have a flying speed that's also insane, that's really nice. Flying is always going to be useful. So I think that there's a lot of really, really good synergy here between the different ones and even within themselves. So definitely talk to your DM about switching them up and trying different combinations as you go. I think it's totally viable, but it may be a little difficult for story reasons, but I think it's a lot of fun, and I think this is a really awesome subclass. So Friday, of course, we're going to be building one together, and I am looking forward to it because this is a fantastic subclass. I absolutely love this subclass. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that, and click the bell so you know exactly when it goes live. Until then, I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.